If you do a bazaar, you have inventory for
Yeah.
basically 3 days. Being in a department store requires you to have an inventory, ad nauseum until you run out of it. So if you make the proper calculations and knowing that your sample market is the bazaar, if that translates well into a daily scenario, then with your, I guess, coupled with your financial capability, your instincts and everything, if you feel that you're ready and you have the support of your friends, family, and at the same time you've made a decent amount and you've put an allowance for just in case if something might happen.
Emergency.
Yes. I think that sort of determines getting into a department store. And I mean, you don't have to start in like 3 branches. You could just start possibly with maybe just 1 or 2 branches and grow from there.
Okay, so where are your department stores now in Crossing?
Right now, I'm in Crossings, Shangri-La, Trinoma, and Glorieta.
Okay.
And I started out with Shangri-La, and eventually they opened in Glorieta and Trinoma, and I followed them suit.
So do you need a salesperson here, and how's the marketing different in a department store compared to a bazaar?
It's not that different. You still need a salesperson, but you want a salesperson that establishes a certain rapport with loyal customers. I mean, in a bazaar, you don't have that. I mean, they go there, they buy something, you don't expect them to come back the next time around. With the department stores, I would say 30 to 40% of purchases come from repeat purchases or customers that have liked your product. They've signed the guest book. They've tried your clothes on. They know what size they are. They've grown accustomed to actually purchasing your items, and I think that holds true more for men. It's hard to get the sensitivities of male customers, but once you get it, you really have, I guess, more so of a loyal following than you were to have more on the female side. Just because I guess it's due to the nature, and also because of the amount of brands that the women have. There's just so many options for the lady segment.
One of the things is, how do you get men into the bazaar segment, and how do you get men into department stores? How do you market to men? What is the psyche you think it's? Because I remember you talking to me about it's very hard when they go in the bazaars. For bazaars, it's like they go straight to the food, and then they leave their girlfriends and wives.
I think a majority of the customers over at the bazaars for men, they stem from accompanying either their wives or their girlfriends or just having a family. So it was actually harder for us to get purchases, but eventually you have a small following, and being like one of the few stalls that sold men's merchandise, it also helped us as well. And surprisingly, there are a lot of there's an increasing amount of stylish men out there these days that sort of are particular more to what they wear, what they how they accessorize, and I guess that trend has also helped attracting customers to bazaars. I mean, you'd be surprised the amount of guys that attend bazaars because they want to find the next thing the next brand. I guess it's not relegated anymore to women, although it is a still small market.
But for the branding of Dean and Trent, how do you look into not being too metrosexual? I think that's what I like about your brand, is that it's just right. Mm-hmm. How do you get into that psyche? It's not too flashy, but it looks good.
I think it's more of the theme. I mean, my theme is classic contemporary clothes, and it helps that thing, the whole image of trying to generate a certain part of sales from the metrosexuals. So, I mean, my clothes are for everybody, and if you
they're very accessible.
And you can pretty much combine. Yes. One thing that was sort of lacking here was maybe a couple years back was trying to layer items, like putting a jacket on with your shirt or with your polo, or not as many. I'm trying to change that by introducing more cardigans and just stuff that you can really put on top without having to using really fabric that's more comfortable. So I'm trying to bring that out, and when it's not to really just try to get that out and sort of have them, have guys actually say, well, it isn't that bad, wearing, a cardigan over this shirt that I'm wearing. It's try to make it fun, but not too fun.
Yes.
And fortunately enough, decent amount of people have sort of, grown to actually get used to, dressing up. I mean, layering, so to speak.
Okay, from the department store, now I want to get into your retail stores. How did you jump in now from the department store and see that you are ready for your own store?
It's also a financial thing.
Yes.
If you can, with the department stores, there's not as much. There's a basic fixed amount of rent, and they don't require you. They refer to like a retailer security bond. Jumping into a boutique, you have to have 3 months advance rent, I guess, and 3 months security deposit. So I guess it's a total of 6 months, really.
Yeah.
So whatever your monthly rent is, you multiply by that 6. That's the basic thing right there. If you can handle that, and again, if you feel that your market is growing and that you feel your customers want you at a different location, and that the only way to get to that location is through a boutique, then you should completely go for it.
So it's about juggling your finances.
Again, it's also about juggling finances. You don't want to grow too fast that you can't really stomach or handle.
Yes.
What growing, because it's really easy to expand, but it's extremely difficult to sort of regress, because I mean, and you take a hit not only financially, but at the same time, I guess you're the morale. It's a morale issue as well.
Yes.
But if a brand can sort of either leverage its customers, leverage either through its existing branches. Some branches prefer to take, loaning or borrowing from the bank. I guess it's also an option as well.
Okay. So going into retail store, where are your retail stores and how did you choose the location?
I really just have one retail store
Yes.
right now. It's 50th Avenue over at Robinson's Place. Yes. It's a sort of a group of small boutique stores, and they're all clustered around this whole concept called 50th Avenue. And it's in Robinson's Place, Ermita.
Yes,
Ermita.
yes.
And right above National Bookstore, I think, for those people who want to drop by.
Okay, great.
So
what are the challenges, the new challenges you face having this store?
The more, I guess, not only with just the boutique, but with the branches, there's an increased workload. There's more paperwork. I guess there's more control that you need to exercise. So the sort of carefree spirit that is associated with a lot of startups.
With an entrepreneur.
It's hard to juggle that, and you have to maintain it, but at the same time also maintain a sense of, I guess, discipline with what you're doing and professionalism.
Yes.
It's really hard to sort of juggle that when you have more branches. Also handling deliveries and inventories, and the operations as well, keeping all at the same time maintaining the creativity and having like the latest items or the latest styles. I mean, because that's what gets you started, really, the creativity, right?
Yes.
But now that you're making the fashion, but now that you have a bunch of really nice designs, but then now that you have this additional task of sort of getting into place, like delivering on time or dealing with the salespeople. So you want to sort of figure out how to do these things simultaneously. So the multitasking really is proportionate to the number of branches that you have, and you just have to be aware of that.
So this goes back to what your father said. Pay attention to the details.
Exactly. Because the bigger you are, I guess the harder it is for you to. I mean, if you make a mistake when your company is slightly bigger than it was before, it's harder to sort of recover from that. So you really want to pay attention to small things before they really hemorrhage up.
Okay, so